Hey, welcome to the Why Should I Refer You podcast. What a great question. The dude that is my guest today, Mike Carlone, one of my friends, guy I tell I love him. He loves me, or at least he says it. And that's good enough because he's from Jersey, right? And so even if he uses the word, it works. But Mike Carlone's been it's only been like 3 or 4 years, but it feels like a lifetime. Like you are a friend for life. Mike Carlone, cool guy, works for a really cool company, safe driver. If you've read my book, you know what that means. If you don't, you should go to Amazon.com and buy Can I Borrow Your Car? Mike, tell everybody a little bit more about you, who you are, and most importantly, the PC version of how we met.
Okay, great. Yeah, Mike Carlone, as Mike just mentioned. I head up business development for the Blueprint, I guess, family of companies, if you will. And just we have very unique kind of approach to how we do things, treat people the way we would want to be treated. Not a typical sales organization, if you will. Just getting to know people, building trust kind of first, building a relationship, really listening to what the person on the other end or team on the other end is looking for, and then trying to put our heads together about a lot of times thinking out of the box about how we can help get them to where they want to be and what they want, not what we're looking to impose onto them.
Yeah.
So
Who are your clients?
yeah, our clients are mostly registered investment advisors, RIAs, but we do work with advisors tied to some of the bigger types of like platforms or so, if you will. But the RIA world is kind of is where we spend a lot of our time.
Yeah. So Mike's a friend because he and I have both been involved in the financial services industries in various roles.
Yeah.
Let's just various roles, right? And at various levels,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Mike's now he's an equity partner, great guy, does a lot of stuff. Mike, I'll never forget how we met. Do you remember?
Yeah, of course. I love telling the story because I tell everyone, hey, I met this guy on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know.
Or I met this guy on social media. Came on strong, which you did. But I will say, I won't forget it because it was such a unique way that you did it. And there's that term pitch slap, and you did not pitch slap me. I think you saw a comment or there was a back and forth on a post that someone had, and I think something I said maybe caught your attention, so you reached out to me with a private message. And usually when we get those, right, I get them a lot. I know we all do, and you just say, "Oh God, here we go," right? But it was your message was it was very it was the way you treated me, the way that I like to treat people, right? And I'm not not overly just salesy or pushy, right? You were aggressive with how you kind of came at it, but it wasn't in a but
I
it
was,
wasn't.
I was aggressive.
You were aggressive, but not. But yeah, your work ethic, if you will, like the way that came across is what caught me as aggressive, but not your words and your approach itself, if that makes sense. And that made me say, hey, wait a second, this is kind of unique. And you said one or two things in your initial message, or kind of in our back and forth, I guess I would say that stood out to me. That there were things that no one had ever said to me before, and kind of really got me thinking. I said, you know what, maybe we should have a conversation.
Yeah, and we are referral partners. So this we have both answered for each other. Why should I refer you? But that's not what this podcast is about. So when I because you and I've known each other for a while, when I first invited you on the podcast and you saw the title, Why Should I Refer You? What came to mind? What was the first thing that came to mind?
Well,
That share here.
I, well, I mean, look, I know you, so I knew exactly what it was about and where it was going. And I love it. I love the conversation because it's very much the things that we have talked about the last 3 or 4 years that we've been working together, right? So for me, it was a, you know basically not embarrassing, right? Someone, if they make the referral, return the car. Mike had, you had your shameless plug a little earlier on your book, going to Amazon and buying it. But that's exactly what it's about, right? It's about, hey, if I make a referral, I want my car back. Meaning, if I introduce you to someone very important to me, I want to make sure you're not going to screw it up and embarrass me, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, but it's something that maybe isn't so simple, right? We all know a lot of people, but how many of those people are actually someone you can refer and feel confident that it's not only is it going to be neutral, but it's actually going to be a positive for you,
Yeah,
right?
and it's not always perfect either. I mean, like we've been doing this long enough that we've had some like hiccups. I wouldn't call them car wrecks or anything like, but little hiccups. But the communication process that you and I have with I think, when you really get down to it, you and Blueprint are you're investors that want to mitigate risk.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I look at referrals. Fundamentally are an investment strategy where true success is not through how big of a referral you get. It's how well do you mitigate risk in all these relationships. And I think that shared culture that we have, which is, hey, we want to grow, but we also aren't here to, churn and burn and to clear cut for us, right? We're here to do stuff. I think that was one of the key things. All right, you ready? This
Let's
is,
go.
you could take this anywhere you want. Mike, what's been your experience with referrals in your career in financial services?
I mean, I would,
No names. No names.
no, I wouldn't. Overall, I mean, it's been great. You learn a lot. Like kind of you said, it's like a journey, right? And as you get older and you mature and you have different experiences to kind of draw upon, um, that journey evolves too. I think overall it's been great. I mean, what I would say is that we've had a lot of success at our company the last few years, especially, and the whole thing is based on referrals. It's this well-oiled machine where we are not paying virtually anything to acquire a client, right? Because in the early days, probably like any successful, say, financial advisor or anyone running a successful business, you really have to grind it out at first. You have to get your foundation, and sometimes you take on clients and you do things that you would never do in your more mature business type of years.
Legally.
Yeah, legally. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so referrals. That's really, if there's one word that would sum up our success and my success on a personal level, but also professional, it's referrals. It's networking. It's referrals.
It's kind of cool because like in the pre-show, which was long, by the way, if you're listening, because Mike and I are friends, and I mean, he's one of those guys where I'm just as convinced that there's not going to be enough time where I'm actually talking to Mike in my lifetime. So whenever we do talk, it's rarely purely business and rarely going to be recorded, frankly. So, but like Mike, you were just talking about that your business has hit this tipping point where your referral process is, it's not changing, but you're evolving as your business gets more successful. You're evolving and your referral process is extending a little bit because of your guys' culture around what you deliver to clients when they come on board. Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah.
About that, like, when's the next time you can accept somebody?
Yeah. Well, right now we're probably looking out into like the fall, so we're recording this. I don't know how fast you get this out, but late February. And we're, 6, 9, maybe even 12 months out. And as frustrating as that is to someone who would like to kind of join us, we make sure that they understand that we got to get it right. There's a lot of things that can get messed up if a team is kind of transitioning over, and we need months to plan, months to organize, get on the same page, make sure the setup is right. Because if the transition, for example, gets messed up, it's very painful, and it has to be done right. It has to be, exactly. But yeah, there's, for us, to kind of answer your question, we have a big toolbox, of potential ways that we can work with advisors, right? And that's the example I give, and I'll probably say something that's going to offend people, but I use the analogy.
Hey, it'll probably be me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried about you, but no, but like, I use this analogy, like, if you're a drug dealer from like the 1980s and you have your trench coat on and you say, hey, listen, what do you need? Mr. Advisor, what do you need? I got it all, right? And you got the trench coat, right? I don't even know where I'm getting that stupid analogy. No, you probably know what I'm talking about.
But you guys aren't standing out of the corner anymore.
No, yeah, exactly. No, the people are coming to us and through referrals, right? I mean, and then shameless plug back to everything you do, but that's exactly what it is. We're not out there begging people to talk to us. We're actually getting a lot of referrals, and we're getting referrals daily. I mean, honestly, we're getting a new opportunity pretty much every single day. But the beauty of what we can do is that we've gone out there and it wasn't necessarily by design, to be clear,
or
We've
easy,
serviced advisors. I'm sorry.
or easy.
No, it's never. No, and look, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? And actually, I would say if it was easy, I said this to myself yesterday. If it was easy, I wouldn't want to do it. It
Right.
wouldn't be fun. What's the fun in easy? Because you got to get beat down and then come back and be able to do it. But it's we've serviced through of course referrals and building up a good base of our clientele. We've gotten a lot of other doors that have opened up for us to go into a different path where we almost we grew the business almost more horizontally before it started to grow vertically. Now it's growing horizontally and vertically because we're getting ourselves into other areas, and we don't just jump and say no, we won't do that or we won't do that. And fortunately for us, we said yes to a few things that we were asking ourselves at the time, hey, do we really want to go down this path? Do we do it? And luckily we did, because that's how we got this big toolbox trench coat. I should just stick to the toolbox analogy that I alluded to about how we can service advisors. This way, when I go into a conversation or I get an introduction or referral, and the reason people are referring us because they know we have this big toolbox, and we can say, hey, Mike, what is it that you need? What are the 2 or 3 things in your business that you need the most help with? And let me shut up and just listen, because being this, how big of this toolbox is that we have, we can likely come up with a solution. If we can't, I'm not going to waste their time and just tell them, hey, listen, I can't help you, but I know so-and-so over here, can, and that referral network can grow.
And that is, I mean, because I know most of the people over there. You guys have grown, but I know most of the principals. Let's just say that, and you guys have always had a culture of care and a culture of innovation as well, right? Which is so critical. People don't understand that in referrals, mindset or culture, whatever word you want to describe to how you make decisions, that's what then leads to effective strategy and execution, right? But you don't think about how to get somewhere and then figure out how to be a good person while doing it. You figure out how to be a safe driver, and then you plot your route. And that's why you guys are, and I told you guys you would be. You knew you were going to be successful. It was just a time thing.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Give it to me. Yep.
I'm going to go right to, because I got to get this in. I'm going to go right to the real controversial question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Without giving names, because I know this has happened to you, because I know where you've been, and some of the places you and I have been require this to be true. I want you guys to think about the fact, you guys are successful, and people were hitting you guys for trying to get referrals and trying to get help from day one, right? But I want you to think about, what are some examples of people that have not answered the "why should you refer me" question before they called you, right? So they didn't think about providing a reason. They just looked at you as a, just nice steak that they were going to grill, right?
Yeah.
What are some examples of people that wanted you to refer but didn't provide you a good reason?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's it I mean, it happens. I would say it happens a decent amount, because, and especially it's like, especially as when you're growing the firm and I'm in any business, probably, like, it's hard to get people to, like, think that you're something special or unique and get their attention. And all of a sudden, I think some people start to see that you had success, and now they kind of want in, and they want to be able to tap into, like, that network or wherever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's been examples. I had the most recent one, I would say, that happened about without tipping off. So
within the last 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the last 5 years, I've had people, like, that someone was looking for, saw a job posting, let's just say, from someone they knew that I had a relationship with that was hiring. And I didn't really have a great relationship with this person, and nor would I actually care to, because unlike you, Mike Garrison, who, when we first started talking, you offered value before you asked for anything in return. And that to me was crucial, right? That to me is so unique. Most people are always me, right? Me first. Right. You didn't do that. You flipped it. You flipped the script. And I remember that's what jumped out for you. This, in most cases, and this one specific that I'm thinking about, it did not happen. It was someone pitching me on their strategy, their investment strategy, and why we would be dumb not to use it, and they should be including it. And, and we're not, that's not the way we operate. And we don't,
weren't they aware that you guys have an investment strategy?
They do. They don't care. That's because people are
Isn't it crazy?
people are, it is, but I'm no longer surprised by how many people have their heads up their asses and how many people have a major lack of self-awareness and just a whole bunch of different things. So yeah, so this individual came to me after pitching me for the last few months, and I stopped taking their phone call. And then one day they just kept calling, left a message. I finally caved and said, "Hey, I want you to make be a reference for me for a job that I'm applying to someone." And I said, "Hey, I don't really feel comfortable doing that." But I kind of got myself into a little bit of a corner because I said, "Well, I don't really know you well enough to do that." And they said, "Well, why don't I help you get?" And
Oh God.
I had no
Oh no.
desire to get to know. I had no desire to get to know this person because the way that the relationship started um, was so broken and so wrong because they had just come at me pitching me something, right? The pitch slap, and that's not the way.
They're
I
a
don't treat
predator.
people that way, and anyone that treats me that way, it's just not going to
Yeah,
work.
they're a predator, right? And you know those people. Like it my number one example, right, of how that happens to me is at least a couple times a month I get a direct message or God help me an email from someone asking me if I want referral coaching.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, really?
yeah. I know
And you're
it's hard because I've been on the other side of it as a like salesperson in my career who has to hit quotas and whatever. And I know people say get to know me first and all that, and I hear that, but when you are up against the gun and you have quotas to hit, it's not so easy to spend all this time researching every single person to only be rejected anyway. So it's respectful of the process, but there's a different way you can handle yourself.
well, that's I mean the problem with automation is that if it works, it has consequences as well,
Right.
right? And so like death by meeting is a real thing. All
Yeah.
right, now let's make it easy. This is easy for you. Look, so Mike, how would you answer the question? Because like anybody that comes on here gets banged on why should I refer you? So Mike, why should I refer you? Now, take out the fact that I already do.
Yeah. Okay. Noted. Yeah. Um, Look, I think it just goes back to the fact that I'm not going to embarrass anyone, and I know that's maybe sounds like a lack of self awareness on my part, but to my knowledge, I haven't really embarrassed anyone who has referred me. I haven't. You've made referrals. I made referrals to you, of course, and I will always treat people with respect. I'll listen to what they have to say. I won't embarrass someone from being like too salesy or too pushy, and just have a conversation, an honest conversation. But really, it comes down to a simple principle of treating people the way that I would want to be treated. And if you do that, and it sounds so simple, but it is very hard for a lot of people to do, right? Because people
Oh,
are very
really?
me centric. Do that, and so that's why I would say I believe that I'm referable.
Yeah. I mean, that is why. That is why. And what people don't get, and that you absolutely brought up, is it's not an easy process because we all want to come up with an answer to why should you refer me
Yeah,
that from day one works for the rest of our career. And we've got this one sentence that has people want to buy and want to do stuff. And that's not it. The real answer is, are you worth introducing when the client's not buying?
right.
That's the like and the one thing that makes you worth introducing, to use your own words, is I'm not going to embarrass you. And when you say that, and I just want to unpack that for the audience a little bit, Mike's not talking about a simple statement of care. He's talking about he's experienced enough in the industry that he knows how to safeguard relationships. He knows enough about the different types of clients and their businesses to be interesting, to be valuable, even if they don't buy, right? And that's important. Like I have zero hesitation. I don't just blanket refer Mike. I usually don't. It's usually we have a conversation unless I get impatient. And then I'm like, hey, the referral's coming your way. Heads up. Prepare for boarding, right?
Right. Yeah.
But that's really it. If you're listening to this out on the wherever you are, like understand that the way to really benefit from what Mike said about I'm not going to embarrass you is to have thought and work through, like he has as a multi-decade professional, well, how do you embarrass people when they refer you? And so you got this library of experiences that are built upon the way you treat people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, exactly. I mean, and and we've all been through bad experiences, and you take them as a lesson about, hey, okay, don't want to do that. Or maybe, look, none of us are perfect. I like you said earlier on, like I've had some inadvertent, mess ups with people that you referred me to. Like, it's minor, very minor, and we've corrected them. And you probably
They're
don't even
just
know what I'm talking about,
communication.
but
They're
yeah.
just communication things, though. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah, oh,
mean?
yeah, bingo.
Yeah.
They're not whole like I've embarrassed you and whatever. It's
No.
just like, yeah, but that's the thing, is like things are not perfect. They never will be, but it's just a journey that we all go down, and you
Yeah.
learn from each of those experiences.
And fundamentally, and this is also really important. I hadn't planned on going here, but we are. Like, you don't have a true referral partner until at least one of you's made a mistake of some degree. And to your credit, to everyone's credit at Blueprint, without exception, right? Because I know John and Brain, like I know the character of that company. Anytime there's been a problem, it's always been minor and it's always been immediately addressed. There's always been effective communication. And all that's done between me and you, like nothing personal, but I like talking to you at Blueprint.
Right. But
Right?
we have the connection. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
and that's part, and I think that is a really important thing, because that's also like, let's call a spade a spade. Let's just be honest in life. It doesn't have to be anything that's as personal, as that different people are going to connect with certain people even better. I've had times where I've referred someone to someone else, two different people in my network, connected them, and then those two have built bigger, stronger bonds than I even had with each of them. But
100, yes.
but that's the point. And then vice versa too, right? Like, people have connected me to people, to others, where I've ended up just taking that ball and running with it, and we've had a really good connection point. But that's the beauty of understanding different, this is your world, right? Where you understand the personalities and the characteristics and the traits of who you're introducing and who you're introducing them to, and the different kind of personality traits that each of us have, because then, okay, I think this is going to go well, right? Or, hey, here's the specific area they can connect on, and I think they're really going to hit it off.
Yeah. I mean, literally this morning, and this, like, I'm introducing Mike to another key person. Like, so we took care of that business earlier. So, but like in that conversation this morning with a really, like, a Ferrari in my garage, he's not a client, but he's a big time guy, safe driver. Like, he and I were talking, Jim's his name, and we were talking this morning about 5 different relationships that I think could potentially be valuable to him. And we literally broke down each of those relationships and we tiered them by importance, because Jim's a national dude. He doesn't want to meet 5 people today. Right? Just doesn't. And then, and so that's the important part about you and I. You and I have had multiple conversations about people where we're like, hey, I think this might be good. What do you think? And on several cases, we've been like, not quite, and it's good.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah. So
let's go to the last question. If you were going to give, and you can't give an answer you've already given, right? Okay. If you were going to give salespeople, B2B or financial services, one piece of advice or a story about referral success, what would it be?
And I can't repeat what I've already said, huh?
Well, you say don't embarrass people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what my go-to, of course, is just being real and treating people, but of course I've already said that, but that is the message. I mean, I guess what I would say, maybe this is okay, is, I've had success in my career as a salesperson, but my approach is drastically different than most salespeople. If maybe people watching this are getting that vibe already, but my message would be, find who you are and be yourself, which is very challenging if you have like a sales manager, you're in a sales organization that say, okay, everyone's got to do this, I back someone into a corner, keep asking questions, ask for the business. What's your elevator pitch? All that stuff, Mike, shut up, get out of my face. I'm not dealing with that. I had to deal with that for the first, 10, 12 years, whatever, of my career. I've been there, and I just knew it wasn't for me. Like I've been an external annuity wholesaler before. I've been wholesaler, that's my background, but it wasn't for me the way that it was traditionally done. And my message would be then for other people is like, you can find your way as like a sales manager. And I've managed, teams of 15 before. I tell people, listen, I don't care if your way is sending a fax to someone. Well, that's not relevant anymore, but of course, if your way is using email or making phone calls or in person and presentations, you find your way and you own that. We each have certain skill sets unique to us. You own that, and block out this one size fits all sales manager that says, hey, in 1995, this is what I did to sell mutual funds. I had steak dinner. It's like, that's just stupid and broken in my opinion. I don't want to hear that crap anymore. I'm well past it, and me joining Blueprint, for what it's worth, was based on that premise. I had met Blueprint Blueprint was a client of mine at a prior firm, and they had asked me to come on over here and help lead the sales efforts. And I said, okay, just to be clear, so we're on the same page, I'm going to do it my way. Not saying I'm God's gift to the world and I have all the answers, but I'm not going to do it the traditional way. We're not going to be spending a lot of money on sales. We're not going to be buying business. We're not doing steak dinners. We're not doing all that stuff. We're going to be using a forensic sales approach, right? And we're going to really get to know people. We're going to build trust, and trust is everything. So long-winded message to salespeople. And I know it's tough if you're in a bigger sales organization that want you to do it, the old school kind of way, and sometimes pushy sales and sales quotas. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. You can do it your way. You can be a good person. You can treat people the way you want to be treated. You can get to know people. You can build trust, and you can still do incredibly well. I would actually even argue you can do much better than most salespeople. I remember saying to my sales manager years ago, I said, hey, listen, I need 18 months. If you don't give me 18 months, don't bother hiring me. And if I'm not one of your top wholesalers after 18 months, I'll hire myself.
Yeah.
I'm 100% in my process, but it's going to be unique. And don't sit with me on a meeting, because I used to get really nervous, Mike, sitting in a meeting where my boss was with me, because I knew he wanted me.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it's the worst, because I could never talk about referrals. I had built relationships with advisors, and my boss would travel with me and sit with me in a sales meeting, and I had to be someone different for that sales meeting. I literally, Mike, I literally would go to the people in advance and say, hey, listen, my boss just traveled with me. I got to do some things that are a little bit slimy, very uncomfortable for me. Can you just kind of just go with it? Just go with it, and then, yeah.
100%. I am thinking of selling copiers.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. And kind of the old, I have nothing profound to add. It's just like, hey, look, if you're in a position where you're being forced to sell a way that you don't like, I have two suggestions. Number one, is there evidence at that company that after a unit of time, whether it's a year or 2 years, that most of the salespeople are able to transition to a referral-based business?
Yeah.
Right? So understand, does the company have different stages for you? Right? Yeah. Because fundamentally, most companies want you to get to where you're getting lots of referrals. And so, right, like, if it sucks right now, but this is the process by which they make sure you have enough conversations and get good enough at talking about the business, so that, and they're going to be patient, like you said, great. But if they're not, you're probably going to need to start looking for a different opportunity, because the worst thing to do in sales is to go against who you are and what you believe in and expect to be successful. Because when you get to a success point, you're not going to want to do what you did to get there.
Yeah.
Right. And that just doesn't work in anything. It doesn't work in dieting. It doesn't work in marriage. And it really doesn't work in sales.
Yeah.
Like, it's been an incredible podcast. That last bit, I hope everybody really listens to it. And please, Mike's a good dude. Like, if you've heard this and you've got questions about what's going on, you can, of course, reach out to Mike. We'll have connection information for him, but you can also, in the comments and stuff like that, ask questions, and we'll be glad to help you. But Mike, anything you want to add extra?
No, I love that last bit. I would just say, and I agree. I think that's it. You can be yourself, be successful, be unique. Don't be boring, and just listen to your heart, listen to yourself, listen to that little voice in your head. Yeah, love the two, Mike. This was great. Thank you.
Awesome. Great job, man.
Yeah, you too.